You just made a decision, and before you even acted on it, you started rehearsing how to explain it to someone. Not because they asked, but because you already felt like you needed to justify it. That quiet pressure you always feel to explain yourself is not harmless. It is quietly draining your confidence, your clarity, and your power. Stay with me for a second, because in the next few minutes, you're going to understand exactly why that habit exists. And more importantly, how to break it in a way that changes how people see you and how you see yourself. By the end of this, something in you is going to shift. Not hype, real internal shift. But before we go deeper, I want you to do something simple. Drop this in the comments right now: I trust my decisions. Don't overthink it. Just type it. That one line is going to mean more as we go on. Welcome to Stoic Quiet Strength. This is where we break down the psychology of power, self-control, and how to move differently without saying too much. If you're someone who wants to become more grounded, more respected, more in control of your life, make sure you subscribe now, because this is what we do here every week. Let's get into it. Write this down somewhere you won't forget: my life is mine. I don't owe it explanations. Lesson 1: you were never required to explain yourself. Let me ask you something honestly. When exactly did you agree that every decision you make needs to be understood by other people? When did that become your responsibility? You didn't sign anything. Nobody sat you down and said, from today, you must justify your choices. But somehow, you live like you did. There's this invisible rule most people carry. If I do something, I must explain it. If someone questions me, I must defend it. If they don't understand, I must convince them. And the truth is, you created that rule. Somewhere along the way, maybe growing up, maybe in school, maybe in relationships, you learned that your choices weren't enough on their own. That they needed approval to be valid. And once that belief settles in, it changes everything. You stop trusting your own judgment. You start checking with others before you even move. You begin to feel like your life is something you have to present, not something you live. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Think about that carefully. Your power was never meant to exist in other people's opinions. It was meant to exist within you. But every time you over-explain, you give that power away. You take something that belongs to you, your decision, your reasoning, your direction, and you place it in someone else's hands. And the more you do it, the more natural it feels. Until one day, you don't even realize you're doing it anymore. But here's the shift. The moment you accept that not everyone needs to understand you, you take your power back. You don't become rude. You don't become distant. You just become self-led. Say this quietly to yourself right now: I decide. I move. I don't need permission. Lesson 2: over-explaining is not who you are. It's what you learned. Most people think over-explaining means they're just expressive, or detailed, or thoughtful. That's not what it is. In many cases, it's a response your mind developed to feel safe. And I want you to stay with me here, because this part matters more than most people realize. Over-explaining often starts in environments where simply being yourself wasn't enough. Maybe you had to justify your feelings growing up. Maybe every decision you made was questioned. Maybe you were made to feel like your judgment couldn't be trusted. So you adapted. You learned that if you could just explain things well enough, people wouldn't reject you. If you could justify your choices clearly enough, you wouldn't be criticized. It became a strategy, not a personality. And now it shows up everywhere. You send a message, then send another one explaining it. You say no, then spend minutes softening it. Someone compliments you, and you immediately downplay it. That last one is important. When you minimize your own success, you're not being humble. You're explaining yourself down to a level that makes other people comfortable. Epictetus said, "Seek not that events should happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do happen, and your life will go smoothly." In other words, stop trying to control how people receive you. Because that's what over-explaining really is. It's an attempt to manage perception, to avoid judgment, to control how others feel about your decisions. But that control is an illusion. People will judge anyway. They will misunderstand anyway. They will have opinions regardless. So the question is, why are you exhausting yourself trying to prevent something you can't stop? Here's something practical. For the next 24 hours, just observe yourself. Every time you feel the urge to explain more than necessary, pause. Ask yourself one question: am I explaining to add clarity, or am I explaining because I'm uncomfortable? That awareness alone will start changing things. And if you're still here with me, this is where it starts getting deeper. Because the next lesson is going to challenge how you think communication actually works. But before we go there, take 1 second, and hit that subscribe button if this is already making sense to you. Not because I need it, but because you'll need more of this. Let's keep going. Lesson 3, the more you explain, the less people believe you. This one sounds backwards, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. Think about the last time someone was trying really hard to convince you of something. They kept adding reasons, more details, more explanations, almost like they needed you to agree. What happened in your mind? You didn't trust them more. You trusted them less. Because when someone over-explains, your brain starts asking a different question. Not, is this true, but, why are they trying so hard to prove this? There's a psychological principle behind this. The more justification someone gives beyond what is necessary, the more it signals uncertainty. And people can feel that, even if they can't explain it. Let me give you a simple contrast. Someone asks why you left your last job. One person says, "It was a mix of things, management issues, communication problems, I wasn't growing, the environment wasn't right, and honestly I just felt like it wasn't aligned anymore." Another person says, "I outgrew the role. It was time for something new." Same truth, different energy. The first sounds unsure. The second sounds grounded. And people trust grounded. Marcus Aurelius said, "Never value anything as profitable to you which compels you to break your word or lose your self-respect." Now apply that to how you speak. Every time you add unnecessary words just to make people comfortable with your decision, you chip away at your self-respect. Because underneath all those extra words is a quiet message: I don't trust my own voice to be enough. And people feel that. Strong communication is not about saying more. It's about saying what matters. And letting it stand. So here's something I want you to remember. Less words. More weight. Not silence out of fear, but restraint out of confidence. And you'll notice something. When you stop over-explaining, people start leaning in more. They listen differently. They take your words more seriously. If this is hitting you, type this in the comments: less words, more power. Lesson 4, the need to explain yourself often reveals something about your relationships. Let's make this real. Think about the last person you felt the need to explain yourself to. Not a stranger. Someone close to you. A friend. A partner. A parent. Now ask yourself, why them? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. In relationships where there is real trust, you don't feel the need to constantly justify yourself. You say what you need. They understand. Or even if they don't fully understand, they respect it. But in relationships where you feel like you have to constantly explain, something is off. It could be a history of being questioned. It could be conditional approval. It could be a subtle imbalance where one person feels they need to earn understanding. And over time, that dynamic trains you to over-explain automatically, even when it's not necessary. Seneca said, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Not just in skill, but in how you feel about yourself. Because the people around you shape how you communicate, even when they're not there. If you're constantly around people who doubt you, question you, or make you feel like your decisions aren't enough, you start carrying that voice inside your own head. And then you start explaining yourself, even before anyone asks. So here's something practical. Take a moment and think about your closest relationships. When you tell this person something, what do you expect their reaction to be? If your expectation is understanding, that's trust. If your expectation is judgment or interrogation, that's a gap. And awareness of that gap changes how you move. Because now you understand, it's not always about you. Sometimes it's the environment that trained the behavior. You can love people, and still recognize where you don't feel fully safe to just be. Both can exist at the same time. Say this to yourself, I don't need to prove myself to be understood. Now to the next part, this is where your communication starts to shift in a very visible way. Because we're going to talk about something most people completely underestimate. Silence. And once you understand this, you'll never rush to fill space again. Lesson 5, silence is not awkward. It's power. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. The moment there's a pause in a conversation, they rush to fill it. They start talking faster, adding more, explaining more, just to avoid that quiet space. But that's exactly where they lose control. Because silence, when used intentionally, changes how people perceive you instantly. It creates presence. Think about this. Someone asks you a serious question. Instead of jumping in immediately, you pause. You look at them. You take one breath. Then you answer, clearly, calmly. That pause alone already said something before you even spoke. It said, I'm not rushed. I'm not pressured. I choose my words. And people feel that. Now compare that to someone who answers immediately, keeps talking, adds more, starts correcting themselves mid-sentence. The energy is completely different. One feels grounded. The other feels uncertain. Marcus Aurelius said, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Notice what's not there, urgency. There's no pressure to speak quickly. Only to speak truthfully. And truth doesn't rush. Here's a simple practice. The next time someone asks you something that matters, don't answer immediately. Give it 3 seconds. Not awkward. Not forced. Just still. Then speak. You'll notice 2 things. You say less, and what you say lands more. Because when you remove the rush, you remove the need to over-explain. And silence starts doing half the work for you. So remember this, I don't rush to speak. I choose when to speak. Lesson 6, stop defending yourself. It weakens your position. You've experienced this before. Someone says something about you. Maybe it's criticism. Maybe it's an assumption. Maybe it's not even fully true. And immediately, your body reacts. Your mind starts building a response before they even finish talking. You're already preparing your defense. You're not listening anymore. You're waiting. That reaction is automatic for most people. But it comes at a cost. Because the moment you jump into defense mode, you give the other person control over your state. You signal that what they said shook you. And once that happens, the conversation is no longer balanced. You're reacting, instead of responding. Epictetus said, if someone speaks badly of you, do not defend yourself, but say, he was unaware of my other faults. That's not weakness. That's control. It means you're not fragile. So what do you do instead? You absorb. Instead of rushing to explain, you slow it down. You can say, that's interesting. What makes you say that? Or, I hear you. Or sometimes, just, okay. And then you stop. No long explanation. No emotional reaction. No need to prove anything in that moment. And something surprising happens. The energy of the situation drops. The tension softens. The other person doesn't get the reaction they expected. Because most people are used to resistance. When they don't get it, the entire dynamic changes. And more importantly, you give yourself time. Time to actually think. Time to decide if what they said matters or not. Because not everything deserves your defense. Seneca said, it is the power of the mind to be unconquerable. And part of that power is not reacting to everything. So next time you feel that urge to explain yourself in an argument, pause. Don't defend. Don't collapse. Just stand. Say it quietly, I don't need to win this. I need to remain in control. Now we're getting into the part where everything becomes practical. Because understanding is one thing, but knowing exactly what to do in real conversations is what changes your behavior. And the next lesson gives you a simple structure you can use immediately. Stay with me. This one will change how you speak from today. Lesson 7. There's a simple way to speak with power without over-explaining. By now you see the pattern. You understand why you over-explain. You see what it costs you. So the real question becomes, what do you actually say instead? Because in real life, people will ask questions. Conversations will happen. You can't just stay silent all the time. So here's a structure you can use immediately. Simple. Clear. Effective. I call it the ACE method. A stands for assertion. C stands for context. E stands for end. Most people do the opposite. They start with context. They go around the point. They build up slowly. And by the time they finally say what they mean, it's already buried. Or they say their point, then panic, and start adding more and more explanation until the original message loses its strength. The ACE method fixes that. First, assertion. Say the thing directly. No build-up. No softening. Instead of saying, I've been thinking about this for a while and I'm not sure but I might not be able to make it. You say, I won't be able to make it. That's it. Clear. Second, context. Only if it adds value. And keep it short. One sentence. I have something else scheduled. Done. Third, end. This is where most people fail. They keep going. They add extra words. They apologize unnecessarily. They reopen the conversation they just closed. Don't. You end it. I won't be able to make it. I have something else scheduled. And then silence. That's power. Seneca said, hang on to your gut feeling. It knows what it's talking about. The ACE method protects that. Because when you assert first, you're trusting your decision. You're not waiting to see how it sounds. You're standing on it. And over time, this changes how you see yourself. You stop second-guessing. You start speaking from certainty. Let me give you another quick example. Someone asks why you ended a relationship. Old way. It was complicated, we had issues, timing wasn't right, I still care but. ACE way, it wasn't the right fit for me. We wanted different things. That's enough. You're not hiding anything. You're just not over-explaining. So from now on, remember this line, I say it. I mean it. I stop. Lesson 8, not all explaining is bad. But you need to know the difference. This is important, because I don't want you to misunderstand everything we've said so far. This is not about becoming cold. It's not about shutting people out. It's not about refusing to communicate. There's a difference between explaining from clarity and explaining from fear. And you need to know when each one applies. There are moments where explanation is necessary. When your decision affects someone else directly, they deserve clarity. When you make a mistake, you take responsibility and explain. When you're building something with someone, communication matters. That's not weakness. That's maturity. But here's the key question. Why are you explaining? Is it to support the situation, or to protect yourself from judgment? Because those are two completely different energies. When you explain from clarity, your words feel calm. Direct. Enough. When you explain from fear, your words feel rushed. Long, heavy. Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing what a good person should be. Be one. That includes how you communicate. Speak when it serves something real. Not when it serves your anxiety. So before you explain anything, ask yourself one simple question. Is this necessary, or am I just uncomfortable? That question alone will change how you speak. And if you've made it this far, you're already starting to see yourself differently. You're noticing things you didn't notice before. So take a second right now, and like the video. Not for me. For you. Because this is the kind of message you don't want to lose. Now we go deeper. Because everything we've talked about leads to this one truth. This next part is where your identity shifts. And once you understand it, you stop seeking approval completely. Lesson 9, your identity is not something you present. It's something you live. I want you to think about this carefully. Who are you, when nobody is watching? Not the version of you that explains, adjusts, or performs. Not the version that edits itself depending on who's in front of you. The real you. The one that exists before the explanations. That's the version most people slowly lose. There's a concept in psychology called the looking glass self. It means we start seeing ourselves based on how we think others see us. And over time, that reflection becomes stronger than our actual identity. So what happens? You start making decisions based on how they will be received. You start explaining yourself before anyone even asks. You start shaping your life around other people's expectations. And little by little, you drift away from yourself. Not all at once. Slowly. Every time you shrink your truth to make it easier for someone else to accept, you lose a small part of your clarity. And eventually, you get to a point where you don't even know what you actually want anymore. You only know what sounds acceptable. That's the real cost of over-explaining. It's not just communication. It's identity. Epictetus said, never say of anything, I have lost it, but I have returned it. Apply that here. Your sense of self was never truly gone. It was just buried under layers of explanation, adjustment, and performance. And you can return to it. How? By making small decisions without explaining them. Order what you want without justifying it. Leave when you want without giving a long reason. Say no, and let it be no. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. That's normal. You're breaking a pattern that has been running for years. But over time, something changes. You start hearing your own thoughts again. You start trusting your own instincts again. You start feeling like yourself again. And that feeling is powerful. So say this with me: I know who I am. That's enough. Lesson 10. The life you step into when you stop explaining is completely different. Everything we've talked about leads here. Because the goal was never just to stop explaining. That's not the point. The point is what becomes possible when you stop. Think about how much energy you spend managing how people perceive you. Rehearsing conversations. Replaying decisions. Adding explanations that nobody even asked for. Now imagine that energy being available again. That's where your creativity opens up. You stop filtering your ideas before they even exist. You start doing things without waiting for approval. That's where your relationships improve. Because when you're not performing, you become real. And real connection is built on that, not on perfectly explained versions of yourself. That's where your decisions become clearer. Because you're no longer factoring in everyone else's reaction. You're choosing based on what actually aligns with you. And most importantly, that's where your dignity comes from. Not pride. Not ego. Dignity. A quiet, steady sense that you are enough without needing to be understood by everyone. Seneca said, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." Replace that with this idea. What need is there to explain every part of your life, when the whole of it is yours to live? The discomfort of not explaining something lasts a moment. But the freedom that comes from it, stays. So there is a version of your life where you wake up and you don't feel that pressure anymore. Where you make decisions and move forward without needing to justify them. Where other people's opinions exist, but they don't control you. That version is not far away. It starts in the next moment you choose clarity over explanation. It starts when you decide, my life is not something I need to defend. Now let's bring this together. Lesson 1. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You never did. Lesson 2. Over-explaining is a learned response. And you can unlearn it. Lesson 3. The more you explain, the less people trust your words. Lesson 4. The need to explain often reflects the dynamics around you. Lesson 5. Silence is power when you use it intentionally. Lesson 6. You don't need to defend yourself to stay in control. Lesson 7. Use ACE assert. Context. End. Lesson 8. Not all explaining is bad. But fear-driven explaining is. Lesson 9. Your identity is yours. Not something for public approval. Lesson 10. The life you gain on the other side of this, is freedom. If something in this video shifted for you, even slightly, take a second and hit the like button. It helps this message reach more people who need it. And I want to hear from you. Which lesson hit you the hardest? Was it the identity part? The silence? The ACE method? Drop it in the comments. I read them. And your answer might be exactly what someone else needs to see. If you're serious about becoming more grounded, more respected, and more in control of your life, subscribe now to Stoic Quiet Strength. This is just the beginning. And one more thing. Before you leave, go make one decision today without explaining it to anyone. Just one. Notice how it feels. That feeling is the start. Check the link in the description and continue with the full playlist. Don't break this momentum. My life speaks. I don't owe it subtitles.